Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're jumping down into the charts for Ethereum, taking a look at what has been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now if you have not yet joined us in Discord, the link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check that out today? And if you're looking for a little bit more from the crypto space, why not check out the new Cheeky podcast? Fantastic way to stay up to date with everything crypto on your daily commute to the office. All right, guys, let's waste no more time. Let's jump right down into this, right? So here we have Ethereum paired up with USDT on the hourly chart and Binance is our data source. And as you can kind of see from the illustrations of what's been drawn on the chart so far, and obviously as per the recent videos that we've been doing, we have a 5-3-5 structure upwards, okay, of which we are cautious on because until we've crossed down lower than $1,043, there is still that possible scenario where we do actually move on up, okay. I think this is less likely now because we have already kind of crossed the wave 5 high here, so it would be a little bit unusual to see an overextended third wave, which is still possible, of course, but it'd be unusual, I think. So we're being cautious, right? We don't really want to see the price move above 1,280 just yet, not until we've actually brought the price of Ethereum down to the lows that we're expecting. Okay, otherwise our bottom is down here at about 880. I don't even know what that is. $881. Okay, so essentially that could be, it was an expected move of a fifth wave, but I am still expecting deeper corrections, okay. So I think until that plays out, really we want to make sure that we don't have any odd structures appear here that would be unexpected for that, okay. So we'll talk about that in a moment on the macro scale soon, but here we can see that we are tracking down. There's a couple of different ways to look at this. I think all of this is a wave 1, okay, and inside that wave 1 we're looking for 5 waves, okay. So this is completely out of scale here. So let's just go ahead and just drop this down quite significantly. Let me just move that over. So our expectations are that we're going to come somewhere down between $700 and $800. That's kind of the expectation here long term. We'll talk about that in a bit as well. There'll be some kind of movement here as well. Okay, so here I think we've got a bit of a leading diagonal or a really deep wave 1. It could be either way, yeah. So we've got a couple of options, right? So this little section just here could be our 5th wave, okay, meaning that we're coming to the end of our wave 1 correction. Alternatively, this could be a wave 3 with this being a wave 1. So we want to be a little bit cautious here with how this plays out. We might see a little bounce up and then another fall to the downside. So I think though, based on what Bitcoin is doing, if Ethereum is doing something similar, this is actually coming close to the end of wave 1, where then we look for wave 2. So if I grab this and I'll show you what this looks like, I think we go 1, 2, 3, 4 with overlap. Okay, a significant amount of overlap, and then 5. And this is what they call a diagonal, and it is really quite difficult to how do I say it? It's difficult to identify, and it's difficult to identify it correctly. Okay, so I could be wrong on this. Essentially, a leading diagonal, it follows a 5-wave structure, but can have overlap, which is usually an unbreakable rule when it comes to wave 4 crossing wave 1. It also has a mixture of 3-wave moves and 5-wave moves. It also tells us that wave 3 cannot be the shortest, which in this case looks like it might just about be probably a little bit longer than wave 1, but not by much, right? So it's kind of really loosely following the rules of what a diagonal should be, and it looks like we'll probably end with a 5-wave move in our 5-wave structure, right? So 5 waves inside wave 5. So I think that's one way of looking at it. But we don't necessarily need to dissect down wave 1 too much, but we do know that there's something unusual about its movements, and we haven't actually invalidated the prospect or the potential for a move up higher within an extended 3rd wave within a kind of macro moves that we were talking about yesterday. So until we've moved down to, you know, lower than 1043, I'm a bit skeptical to see what's going on, because there's other ways of measuring this. For example, I can take this entire measurement here, I can then move it over to that bounce that we've had, and we can see that we're resting on a 1-to-1 ratio. This would basically mean that this, although it looks like a potential diagonal, is also just a three-wave structure. And a three-wave structure is usually what you would expect to see after a 5-wave move, and could mean that we actually end up with another 5-wave move upwards, right, going higher than 1280, which, you know, from yesterday's video, you'll know that I didn't want to see, because this potentially does mean that we've had the bottom already over here, and Ethereum is now rallying on up. Okay, and since I haven't accumulated that cheap ETH just yet, you know, I'm wanting it to go down personally. But, you know, at the same time, if it goes up, it does mean the bottom is in here. And then it does beg the question as to other altcoins and what their journeys are looking like as well. So there's a couple of things we want to be really concerned with. We want to see it come down lower than 1043. Okay, so just down lower here. And we want to see it not go higher than 1280 personally. So I'm concerned that this could be a three-wave structure on the 1-to-1 ratio. And it is not a leading diagonal. These two things are very, very difficult to understand, or well, not to understand, but to kind of get right within our charts here. So I'm hoping that it's a 5-wave structure down. We'll know more in due course. Once we actually have a directional move based on these two yellow lines. Once one of these is lost, we'll be in a really good spot. So if it is a wave 1, then what would my expectations be? Well, if we take that current low, my expectations for a wave 2 would be right up here on this resistance line, and it is a big resistance line. So let me just go ahead and actually drop that right on there. And then what I'll do is I'll just grab a yellow box and I'm going to draw it right in here as well. Okay, right there. Let me now go ahead and delete this. So this is my expectations for a wave 2 retracement. It's about, you know, 50% to 88% retracement. Okay, and if I drag this all the way across here, what do you see? Well, you see this being an upper resistance area, okay, at 50% of the retracement of this wave 1. We can see that this upper area was also resistance, this 88% retracement. We barely kind of poked a head above it, and then we found this as a bit of resistance, a double top right here. So right now, if we're going to move on up, this is the area of resistance. This is the likelihood of reversal that could bring us down into our third wave low. Okay, so although there are there is that scenario where we push on up, we go above 1280, it is also worth noting that this is an area of resistance as well. Okay, and you know, what I want to see is this finishing this structure down nice and low into that third wave move afterwards. Okay, so keeping our eyes out on these kind of moves. However, there is one additional concern that I have for basically invalidating our lows and validating the possibility of an upward directional move. Okay, this is why it's important that we really do focus in on 1043 and 1280. One of these two key levels is going to tell us what's going to happen next, but we're just not there yet. Okay, cool. So let me bring this up then. So if we take a look at our stochastic RSI, we can see that our hourly chart is ready for a surge upwards, which obviously brings us into our wave 2 high. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for there. On the 4 hourly, we're oversold. So again, could support a wave 2, but could also quite equally support a surge above 1280. So that gets me a little concerned. And as I jump over into our 8 hour, the same concept. We're oversold right now. We can stay oversold for a bit down here. And I'm not overly too concerned with that, but a move from this oversold area to the overbought area essentially would take us, in my opinion, higher than 1280. So what we're looking for here is basically a small rally up as we have that wave 2, right? And then we pull back down in a significant way. That pull back down would allow a small kind of blip here on our 8 hour stochastic RSI. So not the best position for our 4 hour or our 8 hour in terms of the fact that we want the price to come down, but would support a bigger kind of move to the upside. So again, we want to be, you know, open to these ideas, but, you know, at the same time, concerned that they might not be exactly what we are hoping them to be, right? And now the daily is overbought. And this does support our move to the downside. So we've kind of got a mix of different kind of sentiments going on depending on the different time frames, right? We've got a lot of momentum to the downside to be seen here on our larger time frame, that is the daily, whereas the smaller time frames are looking a little bit more bullish and they need to move back up. So I'm hoping that it's just a wave 2 move to the upside, that kind of 50 to 88% retracement level, and nothing more than that. As I jump up into our weekly, let me just remove that stochastic RSI because we don't need it anymore. Let me just grab this, there we go, and bring this back down and just usher this across here. And what you can do is you can kind of see that, yes, we're going to be tracking a 5-wave move into this range between $700 and $800, as long as our 4th wave is complete here, of course. The way that we could only invalidate the 5th wave lows is to basically take the price higher than 2,159. So this 4th wave has to go all the way up there. You couldn't really have this as a diagonal. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to be a diagonal because it is a 5-wave structure in isolation to anything else. So the expectations here are that we are likely to pull back down, unless of course we do push up higher, which I think is unexpected. Of course, unless of course we get that reversal structure, in which case we could probably call it earlier without actually having to cross this level. But we would be mindful of zigzags taking us all the way up here and then collapsing us all the way down again. So be a little bit cautious on that, but I don't think really that's what's going on. So we're just going to be watching out for those 2 key levels on the hourly chart, right? We need to watch out for the 1043 going down lower confirms my thoughts on a downward directional move. If we go up higher than 1280, then I would say that we haven't finished our 4th wave correction and there's a lot more to be had there. And if that structure does turn into an overextended 3rd wave, then essentially I think that structure is going to be key in actually indicating the reversal and that the bottom had already been in. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.